Good morning and welcome back to the Coin King channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA. Bitcoin got a little bit more of a pump as we were expecting it to sort of attempt to do something like that yesterday. I will say today is Tuesday, and a lot of times we will have our moves on over the weekend or even on Monday, and then Tuesday start to sell off a little bit. I'm seeing quite a bit of bearish divergence popping up in the charts on multiple time frames. None of it is actually playing out at the moment. I think we're swinging like both ways at the moment, bullish divergence as well as bearish divergence. I am not in this short position right here, but this right here itself is an actual bear div, and it has been holding in here at the moment. It is getting to a point now where it's about to confirm or possibly confirm the continuation down to actually fill this the rest of this move out here. I'm seeing that right here, but currently it's still holding, and you can see the bearish divergence in play here. The only issue is, like I said again, across here, you have these lows right here, and these lows are going higher as this part is going lower. And so it tends to squeeze price until one side breaks. Usually, given the environment, it'll eventually go in the direction down. So just know that if you're in any sort of a Bitcoin short position, right in here, let's take a look at the 1 hour time frame. Slight bearish divergence on the 1 hour as well. Not not something that cannot be invalidated. We do have a sort of, I'll drop this line right here now. See what kind of more information we got here. It's like it might have been some sort of an attempt to break out of let's see if this makes more sense. Possibly. Possible ascending triangle, maybe. Um, I'll leave it like this and see if we can't get any play out of it. I know yesterday we did get a closure above, not just a sweep, but an actual closure above this little small pivot right here, and we managed to hold the low of the range in here as well. So that's a plus. We come back, maybe we just look back towards I say the 786, wherever puts us closer to this trend line right here. And this is just our potential. Oh, no. This was the potential ascending triangle right here. If you take the line across here and the line that's rising right here. So that's ascending with the back testing here. And if it actually finishes out this move, then this is some place that it would come to up here around 96,340. But it's kind of assessing this portion of this pattern as well, which looks like I want to say it's a rising structure. I can almost flip this into a larger ascending triangle personally. Um, I just think that right now momentum is it's not necessarily weak. It's more so neutral at the moment. So we're not able to get that move up. Although I do still think that move is coming. That takes us to the local golden pocket 786, or if you wanted to pull it from the high to the low, then it would be like a 382 and 50% retracement. And this all could just be, instead of me looking at it as weakness, possible accumulation or something like that as well. That could be the case, which is why we continue to just kind of consolidate in this range, squeezing nonetheless. So, I'm missing a line in here. Yeah, I'm missing a line in here. Let me see. Here comes the noise. That's the one I want. It's hidden in here somewhere. Here it is. Let's take this one out. Because we can assume that this is a bear flag here, but actually we only have, we can say this right here. I don't, I when I'm looking at this, and I mean it does look like a club foot, but it is higher lows throughout here. This I feel like is like one wave down, instead of counting this as two touches. But nonetheless, I'm gonna dot my I's and cross my T's. Um, but this right here could just be a triangle formation. And I shared this with you yesterday as well because it's very similar to the 2022 relief bounce. After that initial drop to the downside, it did this exact same thing where, you had this rising channel or black bear flag situation, but just in the center of that, you also had a triangle formation, and that triangle gave that extra boost to the upside to fill it in to the, or to touch the 382 before rejecting. And you know that that has been exactly the target that I've had for, I don't know, a few months now. So, which is this right here, this right here. We've been talking about this for a few months now, that it would just be something like this right here. So we still got another month if it goes in that direction, just another month on it. I did a ghost bar in here as well. Um, I know that that had just popped up in here. So here's the ghost bar right here. This is the one from 2022. And if I was looking at this, I would say that this is this section right here. If I could make it like fit, but this is under each candle bar. This would just be this section right here. So when I take this away and I say to you, it had that same triangle, just like this. That's what I see when I take that away. That's the exact same thing. So we should break out to the upside on this, break to the upside. It doesn't, it didn't give a lot, but nonetheless, it happened. It happened. So there were many ways of looking at this. And so maybe this time, maybe it goes further than the 382. Maybe it goes to the golden pocket. Perhaps even the 786. I'm not leaning on the idea of breaking the all-time high, because I do think that all of the technical analysis, everything just kind of lines up with what has proven to be a bear market in the past. Um, so just keeping that part in mind. But this is what I'm seeing right here. Now, I will continue to use these two just as potential support or, look to see if it would act as some sort of resistance on the push up. It is in line with the golden pocket, just the local golden pocket right here. So it is in line with that. I have to refresh my PC to get to that right. It is in line with that golden pocket right here. So if anything, it'll be a psychological move, maybe a bear. I hate the word bear trap. It could end up being a bear trap. It pushes up here, it reacts because it's a psychological level, and everybody's like, bear fed, we're about to break down, we reject it, and then it just breaks through here and it comes up higher. Maybe it wants to come up this lower, these lows in here. So that's something to be aware of. Keep in mind. So far, I'm the only one saying it. So when everybody else starts saying it, I'm gonna stop believing it. At least I haven't heard anybody else mention that. Okay, and get back on this 15-minute over here again. Like I said, we're just holding in here. This, of course, the lower. Okay, so for our 15-minute candle, just close a new and just open. This is just a 5-minute time frame. Just a 5-minute time frame. Okay. All right. I did want to talk Solana. Um, because Solana is such a hard chart at times because Solana has the meme coin narrative, and when Solana moves, it moves with oftentimes with a ton of bearish divergence, and yeah, it's mainly bearish divvies at the top when it moves because it's a different narrative driving it. It's kind of like Tesla. Um, Tesla isn't just about its cars; it's about AI and altogether. So, really, if you were basing it on Tesla sales, you would fail at trying to trade it, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult for me. Anyway, I digress. All right, did print a sell signal in here. Not that it can't fail because it can. We're just kind of sideways in here right now. So perhaps this one will play out. It is kind of sideways. It's been holding in here, and it almost looks like it wants to build up a triangle formation in here, pattern in here. The only thing that has changed in here is just a little momentum break. But even right here, I have to be aware that it could, continue to try to grind higher because that's the Solana way. You can see the bear div right here on it. Can't see it on either one of these, but definitely a bear div on volatility. We're starting to put in a bit of a squeeze in here as well, which oftentimes, in my experience, for the most part, this tends to break down. But there have been times where I got the unexpected because um, nothing is going to work 100% all the time. But generally, when it squeezes and I can see that it's from the top side, it generally breaks to the downside. See how that goes. You might even be able to get a better entry if you wanted to take a short on Solana. If it decides it wants to swing back up here again, which, like I said, with this, how fast the RSI was moving to the downside, it could potentially come back up and swing up one more time, and then that'll be the actual move that takes the price action down. Right now, this is a almost a 1% stop on this right here. So if you can get it a better entry on it, then kudos. The stop on that is 143.84, and the TP is 137.89 because it's set for 3. Let's see what happens right here. Momentum has not been broken. Well, not on price action. And then this, a lot of times, again, this can just imply bullish momentum, even when it breaks this. Most of the time, when you do get a break of a trend line on momentum, it's going in that direction. But there are times where it will squeeze higher and then it'll go in that direction. So that's the tough part about trading is that. Okay, so let me see here on all these time frames. They look pretty good with the exception of the daily time frame, but yeah, these look pretty good. Um, let me see. Let me see if there's an actual squeeze here in Bollinger. There is not. So with the Bollinger Band itself, okay, we're just kind of chopping in between, or at least we were just kind of chopping in between standard deviation 1 and 2 before getting the actual break to the downside. So I'm just going to leave the Bollinger on this time frame right here. And I am still working on this indicator right here. I tell you, I spent so much time yesterday trying to tweak, and I still don't have it right. And I was getting so frustrated, and so I'm just still having to like manually just kind of um, determine like where the reversal will potentially happen at, if it's going to happen. And I have to do that for every time frame and every asset. I managed to at least get it to where it gives me an average of where it believes it will do it at. But I cannot, for the life of me, get it to not put the entry in when I wanted to put it in. And yes, I'm still working on it. So there will be some times where it just doesn't go right. Okay, it doesn't go right, and I've tried some different things so far, and nothing's gonna be 100%. I do know that the win rate is higher. No, the win rate is a lot, not a little bit, not a 50-50, not a 60-40. It's a lot higher than the losers. And the idea is just to really pay attention to what kind of trend we're in and then look for the trades in the trend direction. Right now we're sideways, so this doesn't matter. Over here, it was up, but it fired off the signal anyway. It did get a little small, a very small correction right here. But it still pushed it up. And we got a bear div right here, which ultimately gave this one right here, but it won't fire it off again. It won't put you in another position because um, it's set for a cooldown. So a number of bars is the next time it'll look for a new trade. So you're not jumping in and out of trades either. You're not over trading, at least not on the shorts and then not on the longs either. And then let me see. I'm gonna push through to the next time frame while we're doing this little song and dance right now with Solana. I don't really have anything over here. You can see how much we squeezed up over here and how much we bear dived through here before we actually did get a move down. Now I don't have that on over here because honestly, like I said, it's really hard to figure it out, especially when Solana continuously does bear divs. And that's why the indicator has such a hard time working on Solana as opposed to Bitcoin. It's very difficult to get it together. But yeah, continuous bear div all the way through here. Bear div, bear div. I don't care what indicator. I would put bear div all across the MACD. So it's a really hard one to try to figure out. Yeah, yeah. That's my dilemma. That's my dilemma. The only thing I can say is that when we're up above here, I just treat it as such. It's something that I don't need to focus on when we're holding above this line right here. It's nothing that I need to focus on. Even right here, where I would assume it's kind of late in the game, and that's the only way I know, hey, don't even bother with it because it's happening way too late. If it was going to happen, it would have happened closer towards the top and not this far down into the trade. So the rest of it just has to be done using basic charting, just basic charting, nothing automated. Let's see what we got going on over here. Um, yeah, I mean, 1 hour looks good. I mean, I don't have a complaint about the 1 hour just yet. And it seems to me like if the 1 hour did get a move down, it probably would just bounce back up based on the just based on the daily. 4 hour Solana, you're gonna see the same thing where you have the bear divs. None of it matters. You have the bear divs, um, and it's still holding above. It's still confirming that there is strength. So there's nothing to do here. Still confirming that it has plenty of strength. So price is more likely to continue up. Is what that tells us. And then here, yeah, even here, positive MACD cross. Um, MACD posture is really nice. Not necessarily the cross so much as it is the posture. It looks nice. So I mean overall this looks pretty good. We've beaten this like a dead horse. So um I expect for this 145 to get broken and when that happens and you're watching your RSI, when you start to put in the bear divs, know that that's a squeeze for Solana price to go higher. Okay? I just want you to know that before you start looking at it thinking I need to short, don't do that. Know that it is set up for the price to go higher. It's going to be just like it was over here. You see the trend line going across the lows in here on Solana? That's rising momentum, rising. You see this here? You see this bear div across here? Now, eventually that bear div is going to play out. But when it's this close to the top, when it's this close to being in what most people call overbought territory, when it this close and it breaks out, that means it's a continuation up. That means that the trend is even stronger and you're going to get a bunch of swings to the upside. So let's just take this for example right here. No, that's not going to be a good example. No, this one is not going to be a good example, but nonetheless, this is exactly what I'm saying to you. When you're this close to the top and you get some sort of a breakout, let's just say let's just say this was the breakout right here. And so if you're this close to the top and you get a breakout, you're just going to start continuing to grind higher. And that's all you're gonna do, continue grinding higher. Now, eventually, you will break it, but in the beginning, you never want to short a squeeze breakout. You never want to short a breakout from a squeeze. You want to allow it at least another push to the upside. And by the time you get to your second one, that could be your top, and it's not your second one; it's your third one. So you could get 3 drives. But I said all that to say the daily time frame looks fine. It looks fine. I mean, we can say that this is the bear div across here already, and that's true. But if it breaks out, then it's a squeeze, and it will continue. And let me see how it's doing right now through here. Yeah, so it's just basically holding standard deviation 2 and 1. The main thing is seeing it hold 1, because 2 it'll continue to break break out the upside of 2. But this looks good in my opinion. I like that. I like that. And if you see the V, that's when you know don't try to short it. And what the V is when this side turns down and this side turns up. And that's identifying the strength of the move. But they have to turn out from each other. When they're turning in towards each other, you're starting to lose that volatility when they start to turn in. Even positive here as well. You're also underneath the 0 line, but nonetheless, the posturing is positive, and we know that because we're rounding out on price action, but the posture is positive. Um, it would require the MACD to rise above the 0 line. It would require that, otherwise it's just corrective, and then it's a continuation to the downside. And for Solana, we are still in our bear market territory, and it may not choose to go too much lower. If it does, because we are in our bear market territory, and we're almost about to break back out of that, which is going to be interesting. If we break back out of it, I've never known for it to break out and then come back into it. I've never known for that to happen. And this is the zone right here, which the very low should be taken out of account, because if it takes out the low, then it's taking out the it's taking out that pivot that we never take that out. We never take out the prior pivot from the bear market zone. And so you can see where we get to where we break out of it here. So far, we've just stayed within it. We've maintained within it. And I've made a big fuss about losing 120. And we did it very briefly in here, lose 120, because I don't like the idea of losing 120. But it's all good. It's all good. All good. I think this was just, I shared this a little while back, but you can see that we're trying to flip back up 50. Now that's going to be powerful. Flipping back up 50 is going to be very powerful, because the only time that Solana was below 50, and it's why I said that the bear market territory could potentially be a good place to accumulate price. Now, is it risky? Yes, because if Solana does lose that zone, then the targets below are low. It's somewhere around 40 and 30. Okay. So the targets below are low. But Solana, the last time it was below 50 was here. And this was the from the 2021 to 2022 bear market, right? It was below the 50. And you can see the point that Solana crosses back up to 50 is right here. So we're teetering towards to that 49.71. It's not confirmed. I would let it confirm unless you've already started building up your position on Solana. And that, I mean, that would make a difference if you've already started building up that position. Um, yeah. So just the second time that price is below the 50. And so on the monthly time frame, we just want to look for that recovery to show that it actually is bullish. We go here. Now Ethereum, I was trying to fix a couple things on Ethereum before I started the stream, which is why I was like 1-2 minutes behind. I actually did not get around to doing that since I have some issues here. Um, Give me just a second. Um, Trying to see if I like. If there's anything I like about the Solana chart, if I wanted to cover with you, I'm gonna take you off of that soul chart. Unless you just like Solana like that. Now let me see what this was. If this was golden pocket rejection. Golden pocket 786. Yeah, after tapping into here. Hmm. Hasn't done this low right here yet though. Still holding, still holding, still above the 20 SMA. So we're still holding. Want to see us breaking below this 20 SMA. When that happens, the colors in here are going to change on that too. So I'm just going to leave you on that on the chart for a sec while I take a look at this Ethereum um, chart here. Find what works best. Mm, all right. So let's look at the daily. Get that off my chart. 7, 80, 20. Um, I guess I can just go ahead and start with this right here on Ethereum. All right, so just taking a look back at yesterday, market open, whipsaw price action. We did get a little bit of a Bollinger expansion in here, and then chaos continued to play out until we finally we was looking at this little pivot over here. It was on a 5 minute time frame. If I switch it to a 5 right now, then none of this is going to make sense, at least as far as the signals are concerned. I'll do it. You will see. Um, yeah, so we were looking at this right here, and yeah, we got the breakup and we started back holding holding that same trend line that for some reason, with the volatility coming in at market open, did that. Okay, so 5 minute is firing off a signal over here. A little bit of a bearish divergence in here as well. For all of them, you really just got this bear div. It could come back down here. Maybe it comes back down here and tests this trend line again and holds this trend line. Your best settings, I'm going to tell you for, well, nah, because it might not. Mm-mm. Got this steady decline right here, but it's still holding above here. So I would need to see it leave relative. I mean, it's, still okay, even though we got that bear deal through here. It's still okay. It's probably if it drops below here, um, you may start to put in some bullish divergence. I wouldn't mind because, hmm, anyway, that's let me block this because I don't think I saw it on the, go back over here on 15 minutes. His 15 minute isn't firing anything off, even though on the 15 minute you do have this bear div here on the 15 minute also. Higher high there, lower high here. See, and here we got the same thing. Yeah, we got the same thing right in here as well. And I think that this is my MACD. Let me be sure. Yeah, MACD. Bearish divergence here on the MACD as well. Delta below the zero line. It's not moving far. Really, if you wanted to, I guess, if you were looking to be short on this, I was looking at the MACD having to be above a 10 to consider a short. So something that I've been doing is doing it like this right here. And I'm gonna brighten this up just so it's more, uh, it's a lot easier to see. And then change that to white just like that. And I'm just gonna set this for a 10. And to the downside, I'm gonna set one for negative 10. And so I consider shorts at least off the 15-minute time frame. Not higher than 15 minutes so far. This is what I've done. Consider short. If MACD crossed above 10, it would have to cross above 10 for me to even consider it. And then when MACD drops back below 10, then I know that the momentum is fading and I can get short on it. So great short right there. MACD would need to cross below 10 in here for me to consider. Now you can see it front ran it right here. So that's what you have to deal with. Sometimes you don't always fill out, but you have to stick to what your criteria is to take the trade, and that just is what it is. If it didn't meet it, then you don't take it, and you don't overtrade either. If you had a winning trade, you can sit on your hands for the rest of the day until it does something like that again. And right now, it hasn't done that. Let's look at an example in here on Ethereum where it may have crossed 10. Okay, so right in here, it did cross 10 in here. And I think right here, it might have put in a bullish div on that one right there. So here, you would have started out good right here. You would have started out with a little scalp trade on it. But in some situations, when you can see a trend line to the downside, you know to take your funds out, right? So if you can spot a trend line, you know to take profit because you don't know if it's gonna continue. You wouldn't have seen that. It would have been something like this right here if this was your. Let me turn this back on and see if I can't make it look better though. All right, so yeah, right there. There we go. Right there. With this cross below 10, I wanted to get long, take the long. You see it comes up and it hits the trend line. You know that's a TP right there. So you take some profit, you set your stop loss, so you leave your stop loss where it is. You can either leave it where it is or you can raise it up because you're now in profit. But let's just say this played out, then I mean, yeah, you probably wouldn't have caught the rest of this move right here. Um, you probably would have gotten stopped out. Just depending, just depending on where you raise your stop loss to. So that's a variable there. But then it comes back down again and drops to 10. Boom, getting long, baby. So I've seen this work many times here for the 15-minute time frame. Now, 10 doesn't have to be like the entry signal. It was sitting closer to the 10. I just know that I don't want to take a long trade unless I'm below negative 10, and I don't want to entertain a short trade unless I'm above 10 on the MACD right now on this 15-minute time frame for Ethereum. So if I push out here, you can see it does it again right here. It dropped 10 right here. It gave you a small move. You just have to determine, like, with your trend line or something like that, like, where am I going to take profit on this at? Where am I going to lock in, some profit? And just where it might look like it wants to reverse or something like that. And then here, it drops it again. Now, I'm not waiting on it to cross back up this 10. I'm actually looking at the next line that will probably be in here. I usually do 10, 20. It wouldn't hit 20. So you can do it in fives if you want to, but the way that I just tend to go with whatever the heck I see in here. They got 15 in here. Nope, no 15. So then the numbers that I use. It just makes my life easier because I can look over there in that dash and I can see them. Um, unless your indicator does some sort of posturing thing or maybe your delta, something like that. Yeah, you drop 10 and your delta's crossing back up the zero line or something like that. It can help confirm that maybe this is going to continue up. I don't know if I changed the settings on this or not. No, it's still set for a 9. I've been going through and changing my 9 to a 15 just to smooth things out a little bit. Uh, to be honest with you, it really it really is making no difference to me. But if you wanna be more conservative, you can just wait for, to make sure that your MACD is crossing above this 10. Because the thing about it is the MACD is still gonna be below the 0 line. That's why I'm looking at things like this because the MACD is still below the 0 line. A lot of people won't take a trade, unless MACD crosses above the 0 line. A lot of people will ignore, delta, will ignore positive slope, will ignore when the momentum is rising, things like that. Because sometimes you can, get a rise and then put in a bear div on MACD, right? I mean, that's possible. That's possible. Like it's a bear div right here between this high and this one right here on the MACD right here. So it's bound to happen. But anyway, it was just a little something that I was playing around with yesterday, and I was dropping extra lines in here, but them extra lines started filling up the chart. So I left it alone. I left it alone. I even tried to, mm, okay, yeah, we already covered that area right there on Ethereum, just like on Bitcoin and just like on Solana, but that we could potentially be putting in some sort of bullish divergence to the downside. It can still try to swing the price up. Oh yeah, that next point for Solana too, look for that next weekly candle high on Solana. Because if it does break through there, that liquidity right there could give price action a reaction since it's already showing bear divs on that time frame. Okay, so do look for that with Solana taking out that weekly. Let me see what else we got in here. It's 1 hour. I didn't go through and adjust this, and forgive me, I didn't adjust any of it. I don't know why I still got these lines in here. That one's good. See what I mean? Like sometimes it will throw off a signal, and it could be true, but then we start putting in bullish divergence down through here. So sometimes it happens. I see something I need to add in here though. And I will come back and do it in a bit. And this is just from what last week when we did break. I think it's last week when we did break the momentum down through here. But thus far, it's kind of flat. So we're still just squeezing through here on Ethereum on this 4 hour time frame. Um, still holding still holding the 20 SMA. Still holding the 20 SMA. Still holding the support level in here, just like everything else, possibly, wasn't triangle. And this is all just a back test. And we're just having a hard time leaving. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all. We looked at this yesterday with the VWAP in here. We have been rejecting the VWAP, got this little triangle formation in here, and we're still holding the low of the center, which is where we dropped to yesterday also. We're still holding the low of the center line right here. As far as tell, with Ethereum, I mean, I guess I would treat it like I would Solana. Right now, we can see that we have rising price action, rising RSI. Sorry, we have rising RSI. We have a rising RSI, and we have lower highs on our price action right now. But it's still holding the mean. It's still holding the mean, and as long as it's still holding the mean, um, it's not weak. Not necessarily weak as long as it's still holding the mean. So you can see over here, it held mean the entire time and just led to the upside right here. It just held the mean. Now my mean in this case is 49.64. So you can see it right here. It just held the mean throughout this entire push over here. Did get a bear div right here. Then after that, that probably would have been it. And Ethereum is known for double dipping, right? You get a bear div at that high, you get a bear div right here as well at this high, and then that's ultimately what sends price down every time it does the same thing, same exact thing where it puts in a bear div. I think that this was like the one time that I don't see the bear div. Not on that anyway. Not on the MACD either, which that's why I said if you're on the 15-minute time frame, that whole thing about the 10 is gonna work just fine for you. But on these higher time frames, you just have to figure that out. Um, Eventually I'll do something where I'll know what it is. I'll know what it is. Yeah, just a squeeze here on this particular move right here up. But you're likely to see a double bear div. I mean, one drive, a bearish divergence on Ethereum. But daily, still holding this trend line through here. Once it, if it breaks this trend line down, um, we haven't hit this level right here yet. We've been stuck in between this one, this one, and this one. We haven't hit this one yet. That would be interesting. And then, of course, we haven't hit this one to the upside. But this one is 24, 22. So this one would be our long entry here. I would say, um, because we have this liquidity over here, and we do have this in here, but we've hit this a few times. I like to see us out of that zone. So if we do get a drop down, this would be nice right here for the long entry. And then for the short, we haven't hit this one right here since we've been in this little range, and this gives us these lows in here. So that would be a good short. That's 38, 37. I don't think that there was anything else through here. Yeah, we already know about all of this right here. We covered this a few times. You still have that volume node that sits right here. It's still the largest volume node for this area right here. I don't think I've had to stretch this out anymore. Not really, yeah. Still the same largest volume node. We're hitting this one right here, which is quickly catching up to it. So you can see our problem right now with Ethereum. And let me see. This is the weekly. Take. Those are not going to matter because it usually just works well with. It usually just works well with the first two. So I'll turn the other ones off. I like to see where these are at. I'll turn that one off and at least keep that one on. I'm usually just focused on these two really with those particular moving averages there. Positively holding the 10. Where you really want to be is that same lows. Those same lows I was saying could be a short, could be a good short opportunity. Has this one right here. And unless we're getting back above here, which is also the point where price action was deemed what you call overbought, overvalue is sitting right here at the same place. But if it's going through there, then it's no longer a place of undervalue or overvalue. I think it's a short right here though. Then you got your I don't really use it. But it worked. It works. It works. Um, this is the VR volume profile. value area high is sitting here. Yeah, that's decent though. That's a decent start. Whenever you get that cross between these two, it's a decent start. And that's just the first one to the upside. It would have to put in two to even, generate some sort of a new trend line or something like that on it. But yeah, I like the way it was holding through here. So that's exactly how we have that line drawn on that daily time frame. Just as we see it there with that 10, that's exactly how it is. That 10 is holding price there on that weekly time frame. Take a look back at Bitcoin here real quick. Let's see what we're doing. All right. All right. We're trying to get that cool off. Through here. I'm following up behind that bear there. 200 may have wrapped price action. Loza! Oh, thank you. Thank you, though. You see, I still have your VVV up on my screen too. I still have that up on my screen. It did hold that 786 yesterday, that 786.886. It held it. And look, I looked at it yesterday and I was willing to take a trade on it, but then I was so tired. I was so tired. I considered taking the long on it because it looked like it was doing like a ascending triangle. It kept hitting that 382. It kept hitting the 382. And so I remember I was on stream yesterday and I was saying it could be a rejection point here from this 382, and it kept hitting it and it wasn't breaking through. But then I saw the trend line across here. That initial fair value gap, it ended up turning into an inverse fair value gap. Um, I considered it there too, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And then when I woke up this morning, I saw that it actually did get a nice move through here. So now it's just in between this four. But yeah, still trying to hold this trend line right here. I'm gonna stretch this out. But yeah, I was like, okay, ascending triangle. That looks nice. So I didn't get this right here. And I was really surprised that it even actually held in here. It's probably under the weight of Bitcoin right now. I think in here it may have been above like the 786 and all of that. Um, this is exactly where we dropped it at yesterday. I didn't even have to move that part right there, I don't think. Let's see. Do 786. Yeah, it's well above that. And yes, it was. Yeah. But thank you for bringing this to my attention. I actually like this thing. I saw that I could trade it too on Blow Thin. I just didn't pull the trigger. And I saw it come up. What was it at? Right here. As it was making this chop in here. I said, I'm gonna wait until it crosses up. And this is where I was gonna take it at from right here. And I just didn't do it. I just didn't do it. But that would have been some nice little gains right there. So thank you. Yeah. Damn that 382. Yeah. I had those drawings. I think we're looking at it on know that we looked at the Bollinger on it and it had just did yeah, It had only did the retracement back below the standard deviation too, and so yeah, I really wanted it to come in a little bit more. So still very strong. It's still very strong as long as it's not even coming back to one right now. It's still very strong. If it chops through here a little bit, then maybe it'll finally flop over or something. But yeah, nice chart. Nice chart. This is it right here, where it's still holding that standard deviation too in here. And this was the 15-minute in here, where that prior fair value gap flipped into an inverse fair value gap. So, and if anybody's in here that don't know what an inverse fair value gap is when you have a gap and price breaks through, oftentimes price to come back up and treat it as resistance. If it breaks back above it, it'll come back and treat it as support. And so that fair value gap was from the daily time frame. It was this one right here. Yesterday, it broke straight through it because I was looking at the potential for an entry that could have been right here, and then it broke through it, but eventually it came above it, and then it started to treat it as support. Then it started to put in this ascending triangle. We talked about the 382 because there were previous times in the past where on the daily time frame, once BBV started to roll over, it would start to reject at the 382. But this thing, damn, this 382, yeah, it got through that 382 and it gave a nice little push back up here. So it looks good on the daily. Looks good on the daily so far. Eventually, it will potentially roll down. And there's nothing to do with this thing in here right now. Nothing. Just let it chop the top until it decides to drop. All right, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Mm, 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 mm. I know what I was going to check. I was going to check. Let me see. Okay, get below that too. There right now. It's not like that. Let's see if we can continue this little baby down to the downside. Great. That would be great. Oh, gold and silver. And those two are the most annoying craps ever. These two are the most annoying craps ever. All right. So, yay, 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 yay. I don't want to leave while we got price action happening. See if we can't get it. I'm just gonna drop a line across this right here. I just want to see this liquidity here. I don't know what that is. You took all your profit? Or you didn't know that about the FVG, the fair value gap. Doo-doo, doo-doo. Really have no idea what that is. Let's take a look at liquidity here. All right. Order book liquidity. Okay. Let's pop it from on that. I don't like that. Okay, so order book liquidity in here. Yeah, switching to a different type of. Now we do have a few longs trying to step in right here. We had more shorts through here, which is a squeeze, which is why price squeeze higher and put in that bearish divergence in here because more shorts were in the market, so that was better liquidity for the market makers, for the man. The man's gonna go where that money's at, and that money was everybody who was trying to short the top in here on Bitcoin until eventually you start to get some sort of a move down. Now we've got longs starting to step in here, so maybe those longs will be what causes price action to get that move to the downside. Another good example right in here. You got more loans in here right now. No, I don't like that one. It's usually way more visible than that. A lot more visible. They definitely been squeezing price action to the upside. I guess the sentiment right now is just somewhat a bit bearish. Somewhat a bit bearish. Let me change this. Uh, no, this. I can tell which one is which one most of the time. I can't. We go one. That one just has the lines itself, as opposed to how it blocks them all together. So let's see. That would be sweet. I can have it my way. Yeah, this entire thing right here. I'm still trying to squeeze up. And again, I don't know if that had it. I don't know if I need to see that like that or probably need, yeah, probably just need to look at it um as such like that. And then potentially that break to the downside could get us back to where we started from, possibly. This is a 15-minute time frame. Mm, This is another way of seeing it too. You can see how much liquidity we have below us. So that 90,000 that we were just looking at with this little pivot right over here. I like this liquidity. All of this liquidity that sits down through here. This is nice. $90,000 territory. All of this liquidity that sits through here. Um, a little liquidity to the upside. I mean, you got more. You got some more up here too. It's just what's highlighted in yellow. And that's really fancy. That right there. And then if we take a look, I'm not used to the little stroll over there. No, I don't like that. Go right here to liquidation and go to liquidation and go to max pain. Take a look at what max pain is. Alright, so Bitcoin max pain as far as the longs is concerned. See, at 90,363. Let's get her done. Let's get her done. 90,063 there for Solana. We got 137.22. So it's at 141.48 right now. Solana. Okay, so we did release that squeeze, but we're chopping the 20 SMA on Solana. But that 137 would be that low, exactly where that take profit is located at on this current short position that was fired off here. I like that. Short max pain is 145. That is where we'll be breaking out. Actually, 145. We'll be breaking out at 145 on Solana. So interesting. That's where that next weekly high is at 144.93 on Solana. So if we're looking at Solana, we're saying that the max pain for long sitting right here, it is at this liquidity right here. So this take profit would be fulfilled if we just continue to get that move down. We are trying to hold this 20 SMA in here right now. Let's see if we're gonna get it. And then of course that 145 that it was showing there is above this weekly level right here, and it's also above all of the resistance. So that would be a break. Hopefully it will be, if that were to happen for anybody who's long, because I like to wish us all well. Anybody that's long, that would be good for you if it manages to flip that level and not just get another rejection there. So your next weekly high is going to come in right there at 144.93. The previous day high is sitting at 144.40, and I think I updated that previous day high. Yeah, I did. Because it's this candle right here. So yeah, I did. Just wanted to be sure. Want to be sure. But still trying to hold this. Let's see this this low. Yeah. I guess we continue to squeeze through here. It's still holding strong right there as well. So no problems for you if you Solana. This just to Bitcoin. A little trend line down through here. Looks like it's getting that break back above. It's going to be that 15-minute candle break above prior 15-minute candle high right here. Just looking a little head and shouldering. So come up and put a shoulder in and drop down. That would be great. That would be great. All right. What I was saying about silver and gold. So I see a flag formation on silver. I'm gonna let Bitcoin finish playing. Now, you notice the hashtag today only reads Bitcoin, and the reason for that is because I wanted to focus more on it, on Bitcoin, focus more on the big three. I think this five was still holding, right? No, it had dropped below it. It's trying to come back up. Silver is squeezing its tail off over here. It's probably going to break to the upside again. That level that I shared with you yesterday for that potential short on silver, it was entered. It did drop down into it. It didn't feel it all the way in on the move down, and it looks like it may have. I don't know if it stopped it out or not. But this was the level to watch yesterday, looking for it to chop and then looking for it to break down. So it was putting in this little wedgie structure through here. It looked like at one point right here it was going to do it, but the idea was that it had to break below this low right here first and then come back up. It did not do that. It didn't break this level, and therefore it reclaimed above here, and then it just started to wedge in between. If you just take a look at this line here and this one right here, and just cut this portion off, it started to wedge through here. So I look for that breakdown from here to go ahead and fill in, uh, enter the trade this time right through there. And this line right here could have been moved right here. Could have been moved to represent like that, but I could see it. I could see it. So that's the breakdown that gave the trade setup from yesterday. But it looked like it might have stopped it. No, it didn't stop it out yet. But there's a new. It just didn't feel it. Didn't feel it all the way either, and it's just a 2.5. And trust me, I didn't think that it was going to come down too much. Maybe just back over in here too, because it just kept grinding higher and higher and higher and higher. And it had a moving average, had the moving average across here as well. So I'm gonna turn these two right here on. So you can see how the 200 rose up above it. That's what I like to look for too, the 200 rising above price action, engulfing it for that entry for the move to the downside. But this looks like it's about to break up. So it is going to stop this position out if it breaks to the upside, because it's going to break right above this 200 right here. And what we have here in confluence with that 200 now is if we take, let me stick with this pink. See this right here? Got this triangle formation in here now. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off the chart now. We've covered that explanation right there. But to the upside, that's getting back above that 200. And then the next level I'm gonna be watching for is gonna be 88.70. So 88.70 to the upside if it does invalidate this short and breaks to here. And after that one, it's going to be 91, 95. It just depends on how it wants to act. So I got to put extra lines in here for this one. But those are the two levels that I'm going to be watching here on silver. And if you enter trading silver, then there you have it right there, 88 and 91, 91 for silver. The silver is good with taking out my stops. It's really, really good. I think initially I was trying to stick with the one on the on where the stop loss was going to be at. Um, but once I was trying to stick to a one on it, but I don't think it's going to give. I still don't think it's going to give as much. I usually like to look for a 3 to 1. Now, last time I didn't think it was going to give that much. It gave more, but it still stopped the trade out, and that was this one over here. So this was the last time we're looking at a trade, and you can see it stopped it out, and then it continued to roll over hard. But again, usually not looking for too much on them. And it had a rising structure through here that time as well. Um, and then it managed to just break to the upside on this one. Let me see this right here. And I could have, sometimes, you don't always have it drawn out properly either. So I could have just had this drawn wrong. I could have just had it drawn wrong. Or I needed to reassess and draw it again. It looks like that's what I needed to do when I got that one. But even still, it was going to break that anyway. Momentum did rise, and I could have just followed that momentum to the upside. And then my confluence would have been that 200 right there. So that head and shoulder. And complete. See, I ain't take no chances over here when I saw this one up. It's like break some structure above that 200, then we can talk. And then gold. I didn't put anything in here for gold. Yesterday I was looking at gold. It had a triangle formation in here for a break to the upside. Market open. We got all kinds of volatility down through here. Eventually, I don't even know what to call this right here, rising channel or something like that through here. But I didn't set anything here on gold. I know that we were still watching this level right here on gold for gold to return back below this level right here. It did push up quite a bit further away from it. I mean, I could see that it was stalling out for some sort of a correction through here. It just wasn't happening. So today we're getting these positive looking structures that not looking too positive in price action, but the structure looks nice. Let's see if it's just going to bounce and then break to the upside. And it is a falling wedge. Or it'd be the same thing like what we're looking at on silver for the most part. Got this gap right here. It might be lining up with the low in here. Might be lining up with the low in here. We'll see about that gap right there. And then the next place would be the previous day high in here. There's a gap. A gap right here. A positive gap right here. Let me just adjust that color. And I do it halfway. That's why I like to look for halfway. So that's why when I draw that parallel, I take out when I draw the parallel. I use the 5 and the 1, and I don't allow it to show the other. I don't allow it to show the 1. Because when you're playing a fair value gap, you're looking for halfway, not a full feel of the inefficiency. So that's how I draw mine. Um, that's gold. Come on down, gold. Come on down. I don't have any additional levels to the upside here on gold. I will put those in. So once we do take a look back at the chart, it'll be there. This might even actually update in here as well. I think I'm on it. Yeah, that's going to update as well. Possibly. Take a look at copper here. All right. So the copper one, we got this. We was watching this yesterday with the rising structure. Wasn't ready to enter it yet. Was looking for it to get up here to do the SFP, and it looked like it might want to do the SFP now instead of doing instead of playing this. I ended up moving this. Like since last week, I had it sitting on the previous high for an SFP, and I moved it yesterday because after this happened, I'm like, oh, okay, great. It took out all of this right here from this rising structure. I'm just gonna put in a fit retracement on it. It came back into the golden pocket 786. Boom, great. That's a good short. But now you can see it's back above the 200. It's looking like it's going to come up here for this high up here now. Now I do still have that one. I just turned it off. It was this one right here. This is the one that I've been watching since last week, thinking that this could happen. Actually, probably the week before last, towards the early part of last week or the end of the week before or something like that. But now it looks like it's going to come up to here. I don't know. It's not worth the SFP attempt, in my opinion. If it starts to chop in here, then great. Maybe it's just, I wouldn't call it an SFP at that point. Um, but maybe it just chops right above that previous high and then it comes back down. So it puts in that higher high and then it comes back in and puts in a higher low because it does have, we can do away with that pattern now because that happened. Uh, I don't even know how I really want to draw this out. It's gone already. Whatever it was, it's already happening. Um, let's see. Are we doing another squeeze? Maybe. Because if that's the case, hold on. I like to see how things work the next time they happen. I'm gonna leave it there. Maybe mess up would be possible. Maybe. Let me turn this off. Yeah, so this is out of our way, but I know that we are above it. And anytime you're trading above it, it's usually a good thing. So we would have to see it drop a little bit. See if that's going to be the case once again. But that's what we got here for copper. I didn't do anything with Exxon, but it is still, kind of hanging around one of our levels that we have in here, which is 124. I think that was right now. It's another one up here at 134, but right now this 124. And again, more rising structures in here. I don't really know what we're doing with all of these rising structures, but tons of rising structures. Focus on that. I did not change the previous day high or anything in here, so I guess that makes sense to change that, right? 'Cause I haven't, um, yeah, there we go. Let's go 30 minutes. I don't know if I did had that on here on this one. I did. So I'm sorry. I do need to update that information. It would make sense. Let's see, previous low in here. Forgive the music. It does that sometimes. Let me see what else I have in here. Cues. Up on the queue real quick. No, nothing to really update in here on the cues. If we left this organic before moving it yesterday, it did actually break above um, line chart this baby, right? It did break above this triangle formation. So I mean, it's just choppy. It's just choppy as crap in here right now. So I can't really do anything with that. And there was nothing that I could gather from MACD either. It's sideways. So it's just still squeezing through here. Um, no actual confirmation on either side just yet. Nothing too really clear. At least, yeah, not from the 4 hour time frame. They have to zoom out something larger. Even that's gonna take some time. Let's go 24 hour. Still very flat here. Um, it's positive right now. Go weekly. Very positive. Especially once I'm right in here where it actually dropped. Just right in here. I mean, still positive. I'm assuming VWAP would be the thing for the Q. That one right there. It's supposed to be VWAP from this pivot, and that's where it came back to. This is the VWAP for this pivot. So if it does, then that's what I'm looking at here. So nothing has changed from here on that. So let's still looks fine. Despite the bear div at the high, you know, it couldn't it couldn't hold any bear divs. It couldn't do that because that's a bull div, and that's why it continued up bull div. That's, my friend, is bullish divergence as opposed to that. And it's the same situation for everything through here. Lotus dip, lotus dip, and then that breaks all of this squeeze, but it just gives another bull dip through there. So that's the situation right now. So nothing to really make of it. Still positive. Then we got Spider. See the Spider. Same situation. Very positive here on the weekly time frame. You can see it's just the same situation. Now through here, let me see. Totally. These continue to be the levels I'm watching for though. In the event that this rolls over, looking for this low right here to be taken out, 68.99, not happening yet. So still positive on the daily as well, holding above the level. MACD still above the zero line. MACD posture is positive right now on the daily time frame. Also 24-hour, same situation. Just want to make sure because nothing. 4 hour positive. 4 hour time frame remains positive. Um, yeah, it's still strong. Still strong. It dropped below it right here to get that drop. We dropped below it right here, and then we got that, and then we got this most recent one. So even here, you can see that we're putting in the same formation right across here, with the exception that this one's probably rising or something. Okay. This one's rising, looking at anything. Once it does play it out, I'll look for this low right here to be taken, which is why I'm looking right here at this level right here. I just look for this amount of that bear deal because this is where it starts at right here. That's the starting point for it. If it tries to come back down, it's just below that low right there. Take a look at number 1 hour. Drop this. 1 hour still looks fantastic. I cannot complain about it. MACD positive. All of this is positive. All of that's positive. This is relative strength. So nothing to take from that. I guess now I can look at. Um, yeah, that could just be something that just brings it back to here. So I was gonna move. I'm still gonna move it. Set this right there now. You can even say that this is squeezing a little bit tighter through here, or maybe it's just the way it's drawn right here. Time frame makes a difference with it. I'm check and see if there's any unusual. Oh, okay, it didn't stop it. Like yesterday when we came on stream, I was looking at it like, maybe it's gonna stop it out or something like that. It didn't. All right, so that hit. I think that hit. Yeah, that hit. And the only reason why I looked at it was because that particular day it came back up here. It was showing that it was going to come back up above here. So I said, okay, I'm just going to set it below that pivot right here. So you can see where the Y is like that too. So I'm just going to set it below this pivot right here then, since this momentum is rising on it, and just set it back for the top side of the rising channel right here. So that worked out great. I'm preparing myself to do um, some options trading. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, we continue to hold in here. I think we did a sweep right here yesterday. We did a sweep and go. We're not coming up high enough to see any sort of SFPs off the indicator or anything like that. Just that one. I don't think it's going. The last time on the MACD, it only came down as well as that. So no different there. But yeah, that's as low as it dropped the last time on the hmm, I don't think that there was anything else here. Japan 225 index. How did you end up in here? I was looking at it for some reason, I guess. This was a nice bounces. A nice little break back up. I like this. I'm gonna have to see why I'm looking at it, but back to Bitcoin over here trying to get that move back up here a little bit. Um, Anyone still long from yesterday? I'm still long from yesterday. I did take a little bit of profit out of it. Um, I took some profit from the long yesterday. Once we came to that yesterday? Yeah, that was yesterday, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was yesterday. Once we came to here, I took some profit because I think through here we may have started. No, we didn't bear deal. Uh, but I took some profit at this one right here, and I'm still holding the rest of that trade um, from this right here yesterday. Which, if you were later taking it, if you felt like taking it later, then you got a better entry. Um, but this was um, this is where I did take again, took a little bit of profit out of the position, and I'm using a Binance chart, but low fan. This is where I took a little bit out right here. We hit that, um, and then the rest of the position is still open. So still in some profit, still in a little bit of profit on it. Right now I'm in the Solana short, so we'll see how that goes. Cause Solana be doing its own thing. Yeah, Solana does its own thing. So I'm in this short right here right now. Prepared to cut it if she acts up. Talking to Google. Talking to Google this morning about Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Just trying to get relevant information, easily through Google. Google told me it was going to set some alerts up. Then it started trying to tell me how to do my how to set my alerts. Like I know how to set my alerts. Don't offer me to give me some alerts and then you're trying to tell me what to do. No, 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 no. It was quite interesting. I don't know how accurate Google's information was. That's a fun little thing to talk to. I don't like the Gemini one. I don't like it at all. The Gemini app. I'd rather say, "Hey Google," or press the microphone. I don't like the added 50% to my account in total with yesterday's trades. Today has been difficult to be had. Oh, congratulations on the 140%. That's really good on that VVV trade. And yeah, sometimes we overtrade. That's all. Sometimes we overtrade. And I'll do that too, where I'll enter And then I'll have my stop set a little bit too close. I try to get away from that. I try to find, yeah, I try to get away from that though, which is why as I'm working on this indicator, I'm making sure I don't overtrade. Like it has to be so much of a distance away. So many bars have to have been played out on the chart before it gives another trade set up. I'm trying to get it to, well, it does that now. That part is under wraps, but I'm just working on trying to perfect this a little bit more. But yeah, when you're getting stopped out quite a few times, you do end up giving a bit of that capital back to the market. $50% of your account is that's awesome. That's a lot. I'm assuming Polygon and I don't know what that clicking is. I'm sorry if that's coming up on your end as well, peeps. I don't really like this. Go about 60. IP? Haven't seen that thing in a long time. Dash, Rose. Okay. Let me see what the rose looking like, what these thorns looking like. That's nice. That's the thing I'm trying to do too. I want to stop it from doing that in an uptrend. Because in an uptrend like that, especially when you can tell it's a strong uptrend, it doesn't need to fire a signal off. But these settings are not for it either. The settings are not for Rose or for Bitcoin. This is quite nice. I don't usually draw it like this. Try to follow along with it better. Let's see what's going on. This looks really nice on Rose. It's really choppy. Really choppy. Just keep pushing. Oh man. Nice Rose. Nice. Have to ignore that. But time frame. Nice Rose. Nice. Had a little wedgie structure in here. Did give a good short off of this time frame, but it's not for this time frame. Look at that. Green across the board all the way up to the 4 hour. Let me see your 4 hour. That's straight up. Okay, Rose. I'm about to start looking back at Rose. I remember there was a time. There was a time. There was a lot of posts going out on some Rose. I like that. Rose. I have to take a trade on some Rose. Right now, can't do nothing but look for a short. I don't want to short it. put in the bear dip. 4 hour. Yeah, I do. Really hot. Actually, let me just change the settings on this. Go with daily. Since I have one 4 hour time frame. Daily level is all the way down here. Cool. Breaking this high. Oh, this looks good. What kind of long position is that? What kind of long position is that? Literally, literally. What? Yeah, this settings is not for this. It's the time frame too. What kind of long position is that? Let's see. Look straight through that. Those wickety wicks. It likes this setting though. It definitely likes this setting. I'm gonna look. I don't think I have froze in my thing over here. Okay, fix the tab. Slowing your browser. I will. I will. Thank you. Check back on this before I get out of here. Well, actually, I don't have much time to get out of here. Dang it. I'm gonna post on Rose later though. I like this though. I like Rose. Look at that. Look at them candles go. Let me take a see what the next draw a fib on this thing. Let me use this. 76. It may not choose to slow down right there. I don't know why my fib disappeared, but okay. I might have it that's blocking it. Drag this up. Cause that ain't it right there anyway. It needs to be on this one. And then I'm gonna have to add the 382. I don't need the 50 just yet because I don't think it's like that. And let's see the 236. Coming into that 236. That's a nice, I mean, this is a daily time frame, but that's a nice little higher low. This little small swing, little higher low, higher high, higher low right here. So this is cute. It's cute. It's not a big swing like these right here, but this is cute. I might hold it out right here. Drop that down. To get that right because if momentum is going up, I want to make sure I'm going with it. Yeah, I'll check back on this. Put this back on our Bitcoin. Oh, we're on the 5-minute chart, right? But that was that one little setup that was on that 5-minute chart too. Um, the one where it fired off a signal. It actually fulfilled the TP, came back up to the golden pot 786 for another dipper down there before getting this little boost to the upside. Come on with that. What am I about to do? It's got to change this back to a 15-minute. Could do a 1 hour. Since I'm in the 5. Yeah, still just sideways. I think that we are supposed to have. All right, let me close out this application right here. Since it may be creating a problem for the PC right now. I'll close that one out too. That's what it was. I'm going to check on for you. Looking at coin. Coin got a nice little falling formation on it. I mean, they had one right before that too that went on forever. The channel on the 4 hour. Take a look at this. Last time we looked at it, we knew that we had a gap in here that coin could potentially come back in and fill, and it filled that gap in. It was a good place to actually get a little extra. Well, I try to associate everything with something, right? But it had this little gap in here after doing the that monthly level again, and then popping back up above it. Uh, Filled in that little gap. But this was the last gap right here that we're looking at for it. So it's like a little channel or something. Yeah, get my indicators because I didn't want those ones up top to really be showing up on it. It's a little bit of weakness right now, but well, no, it's not in any weakness. It's just neutral. It's kind of chilling around the mean. Everything is. It's like waiting for some sort of a break to the upside, like a breakout is about to happen on this thing. If I turn on Bollinger, let's see what we got. 'Cause that's what it looks like. It looks like it's trying to squeeze for a break to the upside or something. I know that we got some. It's already close to that. 225. Got some expiries coming up. I don't know if that was like the biggest thing for it. I can type it in here. Most certainly see like what is the Bitcoin because it can help us with Bitcoin too. Um, yeah, it is at 225. I was just looking at it, and so no, it's 247, 247.50, 225 ain't no big burger. Yeah, 225 really isn't a big situation. Okay, so no problems there at all. It's still scammer positive right now. The coin. So yeah, starts to flip. Oh, that's Rose. It's coming. I guess it's whipsawing right there. Rose is. I mean, right now, this isn't going to give me anything up to date. It just isn't. Expected move is somewhere between this 255 and possibly that 235. Yeah, that was basically from yesterday, though. Yeah, yeah, 225 to 235. Oh, yeah, a bit still gamma positive. Still gamma positive. That's an expected move between 53, 50, 38 to 53, 36. Let me take a look at the IBIT chart. It's 53.50. So that's just above What was I doing in here? What was I doing in here? Was it just above the 50%? That's golden pocket, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's in here, which we haven't tapped yet. If we're gonna tap it, we tapped that first one, and then I moved this one up. Yesterday is what I told you that I moved it up. So looking for price action to come into here, and then from there roll over. But right now, this one I want to get this. Take a little liquidity from down lower. Enter a new long potentially and come up, especially if we can get ahead and show. Well, it doesn't matter. We can invalidate a pattern. That's what we got. Nothing so far is really implying that we're taking out that low right now. Let me take a look at. Let's see. I can't even remember my chart right now. I can't even remember my chart right now. It's the crazy part. Having a brain fart. Anyway, I don't even think I bookmarked it. I didn't even bookmark it. I have to think about it later. Today is Tuesday. Okay, so we do have, in just a few minutes, we're gonna have. It might try to break to the upside. I'm telling you right now, it might try to. I don't know what the fancy's happening right now, but we do have core PPI, CPI. I'm sorry, core CPI. Month over month, CPI month over month, CPI year over year. It's about to happen in a few minutes, about 15, 17 minutes. So something like that. It's at 8:30. And then we have Trump speaking at 2 p.m. Federal budget balance and all that. Love you. Yeah, so we got this happening. Got this happening today. And again, it reads right here at 2 p.m. President Trump will be speaking. Let's see what he says because anything can come up and come out. All right. So prepare. Prepare. Thank you. I have to figure out where that da-doom is coming from so I can get rid of it. Solana's putting in that squeeze over here. We were talking about that squeeze. We had the initial squeeze in here. We released that initial squeeze right there. Now the Bollinger's itself is starting to squeeze in here. Right. It has entered, it's slightly below it. Weakness is slightly below it. Even though we're not seeing it come through fully. I think this is on the, let's see, I'm on a 15-minute time frame. Looking at something different. Oh, I'm on the wrong chart. That's Bitcoin. My bad. Yeah, Solana hasn't flipped yet. It was Bitcoin. Solana's still holding strong. As we can see, it's still holding strong. Doesn't mean it can't play this out, because it can. Like, you can be strong. You can start out strong, come down here a little bit, give us a little bit more, something like that. Squeeze about to happen though. See what takes place here. See if we don't go ahead and break this 20 SMA to the downside. Maybe Solana only comes down here and takes this liquidity if it happens. If it happens to drop down here and it takes this liquidity, and then it gets another push back up here, and then it rolls down to probably catch like this golden pocket or something like that. Aside from that, like I said, the next zone is up here. We know that when we were looking at coin glass liquidity, that this is exactly where that liquidity is sitting at for max pain on longs is right here, and the max pain on shorts is it's up there. This is a change of character actually, right here. The weekly pivot. It's a small little weekly pivot right here. And that short max pain is in between this. But that will lead to a massive breakout, in my opinion. So let's start here. Ethereum's just kind of sideways inside of the short that fired off for it. Still holding. Not showing the same sort of strength, but still holding. prepare to kill some stuff if yeah, prepare to kill some short trades if this news sends us swinging. And definitely holding us up with this chop for the next few minutes. And everything has a little trend line to the upside for a break to the upside. I just added this one right here on Bitcoin chart right here. We are still holding that. I set this on the 1 hour. Yeah, prior 1 hour low right here as well. Ethereum, basically the same thing. Ethereum is kind of choppy. It's a bit choppy. So it would have went something like this right here. It's already broken above it and just kind of back tested and rested on it. Even if I were to pull this up, it still broke above it. Solana has a wedgie structure on its 5-minute time frame as well. This is set for the 15-minute time frame, so you have to ignore that. But you can see this wedgie structure in here. So it has this wedgie structure in here. You can't really see it from this time frame right here as much as you can from that 5-minute, but it does have this wedge structure in here. So I really don't need this right here anymore because we've identified that we have the squeeze going on through here already confirmed. So if we do start to break, like yesterday, how Ethereum went to sending those big candles to the downside like that. Don't want to touch it immediately. Wait for the reaction to happen. And for Bitcoin, there's also let me see. I sort of like this right here. It's a potential area of support or a line of support. It's this right here. Yeah, I like this. I like this potential line of support right here. Let me make sure I drew it out good enough. You know what? Why don't I just do that instead? Just use that ray. Use that ray right there. It'll be coming right for that stop. It gets up to here first. Three minutes. I think we said everything was, at least we know Solana's holding strong. 15-minute on Bitcoin, still holding the fort in here. Yeah. You notice 3 minute. As we can see, this price action right here too. It does suggest that it's going to at least break above this trend line. How it comes, that's going to be another story, but that it does at least break above here. I gotta fix that. I gotta refresh and fix it. Yeah, once it gets to that low right here, it's also going to be through the 200, at least on the, well, 3 minutes already actually positive. Huh. Setting must be off a little bit or something. Yep, there we go with the buffoonery. Going for that max pain on those shorts could be. Let's see. See what that did for us on that Bollinger. Might want to hold and keep going. Although it's not looking like it, but it could want to hold it. Solana's so full of crap right now. Yeah, Ethereum did that. That was the first one we saw making that little move above that thing too. When we just looked at Ethereum, yeah, above that trend line. It is holding because it's positive all across the board. All right. So what we looked at earlier, potential ascending triangle here. Potential. It's actually going to play. Huh? I'm going to give it a minute to prove itself. A little small 3-minute adjustment just took place there where it completely engulfed that candle that got that pop out, at least off of that 3-minute time frame. Let's see off this 3-minute what happened right here. Now Solana did take out the liquidity from that high, and so did Ethereum. Took out the liquidity. Bitcoin's the only one that hasn't taken out that liquidity just yet. The trade hasn't been invalidated yet on either one. With the exception of Ethereum. Ethereum's short was invalidated. So you can see the short right here was invalidated on Ethereum. There's bandwidth 1 also here on Ethereum. Solana is still active at the moment as it did take the liquidity from that prior 1-hour candle. I think this is 1 unless it's 4-hour candle. So it did take the liquidity from that 4-hour little top in here. but still, it's still positive. Still a positive trade. It would just put in another bear deal, possibly. I will let it come up and, uh, like I said, that liquidity sits between this weekly high right here at 144.93 and that 146.91. So that liquidity sits right there to the upside. Let's see what we even look like with that data. So core CPI month over month forecasted for a 0.3%, and it came in at a 0.2%. So it didn't come in good. The rest of them was just as expected. The CPI month over month and CPI year over year both came in as expected. Forecast for MM was 0.3%, and for YY it was 0.7%. Then the only thing we got left, unless I mean, new home sales is not that big of a deal. It's going to be when President Trump speaks at 2 p.m. So that's going to do it. Mm-mm-mm. Well, I guess that's going to do it for me. You know what to look for in this situation right here. You're basically just going to be looking for price action to get up here into this golden pocket 786. If it manages to invalidate this short setup in here, that would be the next place to look for a short position. It would be above the golden pocket, so I would put my attention more towards the 786, which if you're using the Binance chart, it's going to be 93,503 if you're using a Binance chart. If I zoom out, let me just go to a daily time frame so we can see exactly where I drew this from. Let me hide that. So it's just this top to, actually I got it on this low. Forgive me. So that's the golden pocket. That's that's the golden pocket. And then that's the 786. Please forgive me. I don't know why I did that. But I would be looking for the somewhere above this golden pocket though, for price action to come in, possibly even just tap this 786 right here. You see it doing more than that, just leave it alone. You are still positive, like I said, on those specific time frames. I don't see. Actually, hold on. Let me put that line. Oh, never mind. I gotta delete that. Whatever that line was I had, I'll figure it out. Figure it out. All right. So golden pocket 786 there. 786 is what I would really pay attention to. But you heard me and you saw where I showed you where the max pain was at on shorts, I mean on longs. Oh no, on shorts, I'm sorry, on shorts. And then to the downside, what we'd be looking for to the downside is to actually break and not just take the liquidity in here. So if we get the breakdown in here, I would really like to see this low in here get taken. Actually feel, hit the entire take profit in here. Maybe sweep the liquidity. I mean, well, maybe reclaim back above here at some point. So I would just leave this in here because it can still break it and then reclaim back above it. That could be the situation in here for this particular trend line through here. Let me see if there's any confluence in here. Let me just take a look at this right here once again. Okay, stopped out on that 200 EMA. That's nice. Could continue to chop, like I said. So don't feel like it can't still break above it. Let's see. So yeah, we definitely want to lose that. And then if I put it on a 15-minute time frame, see what we got. Yeah, this is a great place right here because a lot of times price action will just come back into the 200 and the 400. Mainly the 400 is going to be the one that it tends to come back in and hit. If it holds it, then great. And if it doesn't, because it can break below it just like it did over here and then come back up above it. But if it doesn't, then that liquidity right there is as good as gone. Won't be mad at it. All right, I'm getting a little hungry and a little tired at this point, so I'm going to call it a stream. I will not be here tomorrow. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. But I can tell you something somewhere I will be this weekend. I will do a stream this weekend because I do not have to be at my job this weekend. So um, that's happening. We'll see what kind of, hopefully it's not too boring on Saturday where we absolutely get nothing, no type of movement or anything whatsoever. Um, Saturday or Sunday, one of those two. But I will be around. Until then, I will see you on Thursday. Thursday morning at 6 a.m. I am down to Crypto TA. This is the Coin Kings channel. I appreciate you for joining me, and I will see you on Tuesday. Hold on, your coffee's gone cold. Take care.